Assalamualaikum students, this is your biology class and today we will discuss chapter number 1 homeostasis osmoregulation section and I'm your teacher Ms. Hira. This is this is the outlook of your book and this is the content which you have to do study in second year class. Consists of 3 sections and 13 chapters in which chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are included botany and zoology both sections. Chapter 6, 7, 8, 11, 12 included only botany section, and chapter 9, 10 and 13 included in zoology section only. Here's the homeostasis. Homeostasis chapter number 1, it is the word homeostasis means a state of balance in the body. Here we can define homeostasis is the maintenance of internal condition of in a cell or in an organism by means of self-regulation mechanism is called homeostasis. Means the regulation of water, salt, solute or nitrogenous wastes in your body is called homeostasis. How they regulate, as the word comes from homeostasis. Homeostasis derived from the Greek word homea means same and stasis means position. Means the process help the body to maintain its own position. There may be this fluctuation because of the external environment. Changes in the external environment cause fluctuation in the internal environment, but the process of homeostasis help the body to recover from this fluctuation or change. So aspects of homeostasis. What are the aspects of homeostasis? There are 3 aspects of homeostasis. First, osmoregulation, as the word comes. Osmoregulation means regulation of osmosis. Osmosis means regulation of salt, solute and water in the body, and balancing of these solute and water is called osmoregulation. Next is thermoregulation. Thermoregulation is the process of heat regulation and temperature regulation in the body. Okay, internal temperature of your body can be changed with the impact of external temperature, but balancing of this is called thermoregulation. And the third aspect, as you can see, your body temperature is normally 37 degrees centigrade. And the third aspect is excretion. Excretion is actually the process of removal, but the removal of nitrogenous substances is very much important for balancing of the body, because these nitrogenous substances may cause toxic effect into the body. So these are the 3 aspects. After that, why there is a need to control the internal environment or control system mechanism. So significance of homeostasis is that the balancing, every time central requirement of the body is the balancing of the body. So the adaptations and the constant changing in conditions and contribute in evolutionary processes. That is why homeostasis is very much important, as well as it requires check and balance mechanism operating in the body, which is termed as feedback system. And feedback system is very much important and consists of 5 steps. Three types of organs are present in our body which help in the feedback system of homeostasis or anything else. Receptors, control center, and effectors. And 2 types of action and reaction or responses occur here. First is stimulus and second is response. As you can see the diagram, stimulus is the change in the internal environment, either because of internal error or because of external environmental change. This stimulus can be received by receptors. Receptors are the organ which are present in our body in the form of sense organ, like sense of taste, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of sight. So these receptors receive stimulus and convey the message of change to the control center. What is control center? Control center is your brain, your spinal cord. They have a particular type of set point, range of changes. So they can decide, the control center decide what to do. Either change is negligible or change is important to if respond. So control center decide what to do and convey the message to the another type of organs of our body, which are called effectors. Effectors are mostly glands and muscles of your body, and effectors do the response according to the stimulus. Either response response can be change or no change. So feedback system is of two types. Negative feedback first. Here is the example. If we consider that because of fasting there is low blood sugar level in your body, what will happen? The message conveyed to the receptor. Receptors are pancreas. Pancreas have glucagon which can detect the low level of blood sugar. Okay, this glucagon convey the message to the liver, and liver is the effector cell which help to convert glycogen which is stored in liver and convert it into glucose and release it in the blood. What will happen next? When glucose by conversion of glycogen move towards the blood sugar low level become normal. So this is the effect which is negative, means when there is low the sugar the after effect the sugar become higher or normal condition. So we can say that the blood sugar level normal because of the negative feedback. This feedback is important. After that there is another example of feedback, that is the positive feedback. What will happen? There is an example in this picture. There is the rupture of blood vessel wall. Okay, when there is a rupture of blood vessel wall, blood will flow from the vessel. What will happen? Positive feedback cycle initiated. How? Platelets are the cells which release chemical and help in cementing of this type of rupture or damage like this. So platelets release themselves, and they are going to release themselves as in step number 3 until and unless the complete cementing of wall occurs. When complete cementing of wall occurs, the message will become negative feedback. But until and unless the process is going on, the process is called positive feedback. After that, each positive feedback, negative feedback will come to feedback system. Okay. Now the topic is osmoregulation. What is osmoregulation? Osmoregulation is the process in which movement of water and solute can be balanced throughout the body. Maintenance of constant osmotic pressure in the fluids of an organism by the control of water and salt concentration. Here we will discuss the water relation of cell. Why water is important in the body? As you know that in the process of osmosis, water diffuse from one place to another by through across a semi-permeable membrane. But there is the importance of concentration gradient of solute. Then there water move towards the higher concentration of solute area. Okay, so balance of how water and solutes can be balanced in the body. They are balanced by the two types of terminologies are here: water potential and osmotic pressure. These two terminologies are used and mechanism are used in balancing of water and solute. First we will discuss water potential. Water potential is potential energy of water per unit volume relative to pure water in reference conditions, in which water tendency to move from one area to another due to osmosis, gravity, mechanical pressure, and matrix effect, such as capillary action caused by the surface tension, is can be checked. Means water potential is the process in which how much water can move from one place to another by the process of osmosis is can be detectable. After that, osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is the pressure because of osmosis. In short, the pressure that would have to be applied to a pure solvent to prevent it from passing into a given solution by osmosis, often used to express the concentration of the solution. Okay. Now the question is, what happens to plant and animal cell when they are placed in different type of concentration medium like hypertonic, hypotonic and isotonic? So first of all, you have to know about these type of concentration. Tonic is the term for solute and hyper is the term for higher, hypo is the term for lower, and iso means same. So when we say hypertonic environment, it means that the environment in which solute concentration is higher than water. Hypotonic environment means solute concentration is lower than the water. And isotonic means same. So here's the example conditions of animal and plant cell in comparison. In upper row, you can see that the animal cell red blood cells are there, and in lower row, you can see plant cell. First condition is isotonic solution. What is isotonic solution? In which, in isotonic solution, water inside and outside the cell move equally because solute concentration inside and outside are same. So there is no effect on the on cell on the on the shape of the cell, so that cell becomes normal and cell look like normal cell. In second condition, there is a condition which is called hypotonic, means outside environment have low level of solute, means water is more outside. So what will happen? Water move inside the plant, inside the cell of animal and plant. What will happen? Because there is no cell wall in plant, in animal cell, what will happen when water moves in so many times? What will happen? The cell becomes swell first and then they may burst. But in plant cell, we can see that water enter into the plant and make a plant cell swell. But plant cell do not burst. Why? Because they have cell wall surrounding them which is hard and make plant cell prevent from bursting. And in the third condition, hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution means salt is present outside the plant or solute is present outside the cell, plant cell and animal cell is more quantity. What will happen? Water will come out of the cell to the surrounding environment. So what will happen? These animal cell will become shrink obviously because all water gone outside. But in plant cell, what will happen? There is the special condition in which, because cell wall is hard, cell wall cannot change its shape, cell wall has particular shape, the cell wall remain in its particular shape, but cytoplasm and plasma membrane consist of water content, and water when moved from inside to outside, what will happen? This cytoplasm shrink and the condition is called plasmolysis. So in isotonic condition, no cell changes its shape. In hypotonic condition, animal cell may burst and swell. Plant cell may swell but do not burst. In hypertonic solution, animal cell will shrink, and in plant cell, only cytoplasm of plant cell will shrink and called plasmolysis. After that, osmoregulation in plant. Here, osmoregulation in plant have different types of adaptations, and because depending on their habitat where plants are present, either environment is draft, either environment have enough water or salty environment. So on the basis of the habitat nature, plants are grouped into four categories: halophytes, hydrophytes, xerophytes and mesophytes. First we will discuss mesophytes. What are mesophytes? Mesophytes are the terrestrial plants which are neither adapted to particularly dry nor particularly wet environment. What does it mean? They are present in moderate environment where temperature, moisture, humidity, everything is normal and not above the extreme conditions. Examples are goldenrod, clover, oxydaisy, and rosa multiflora. Mesophytes prefer soil and air of moderate humidity. and there is much abundance of salt in the soil, but with water, so in soluble form like isotonic solution. They make up the largest ecological group of terrestrial plant and usually grow under moderate or too hot and humid climate region. This is the example where mesophyte plants are mostly present in our city Karachi. Now the hydrophytes, as the name calls, hydro means water. All those plants which are present in moist environment, aquatic environment, are called hydrophytes. They have high number of stomata per unit in a species. Why? Because they can transpire more water, because they in their surrounding there is a more quantity of water, so the rate of transpiration is very high in them, and they have adaptation of changes in their structure. They have a small root roots, so they cannot absorb much water, and they have large leaves. Why they have large leaves? So that there are so many stomata on the leaves, and so the absorbed water can be easily removed from their body by the process of transpiration. After that, the two types, we will compare these two types because these are the two extreme conditions: xerophyte plants and halophytes plants. What are the xerophytes and how they adapt themselves? Xerophyte plants are those plants which can survive in deserted areas, high temperature, drought condition. So how they survive? They have so many adaptations, like they have leaves which are thickened and rolled, so that they do not have so many surface area to face the sun, and the process of photosynthesis ongoing. And as well as their stomatas are very deep and in pits and hairy and mostly are closed. They have thick cuticle, outer membrane is very thick of their leaves, and inside them there is a gel like structure, gel like form of leaves, leaf jelly like leaves are present. They undergo the process of CAM physiology, the process in which low level of oxygen and carbon dioxide are required, low growth of to ground. They are nearer to the ground. They are not heighted plants, and they adapt the high. They can survive in hot temperatures and in low quantity of water. On the other side, the halophytes. Halophytes are the plants which, as the name call, halo. Halo comes from halogen family. Halogen family is the salt family, group of salt family. So we can say that the salted environment, all those plants which remain and survive in salted environment are called halophytes. And what they adapt: altered flowering schedule. They have particular timings of their flowering, and sequestration of ions in vacuoles, as well as partitioning of toxic ions to leaves. They concise their movement of molecules in particular areas. They do not have whole body movement like normal mesophyte plants. Excretion of salt through salt glands, as you know, they have outer salty environment, so that their roots in their lower part of the stem have salt glands, so that they can excrete salt without entering into the body, so that their body can survive for long time. As well as they also restrict ions at the root section and also the salts, so that their body can survive for a long time. Here's There are some adaptations which are particular to the xerophytes and most important according to your book. So there are two ways. First, seeds and spores. How their seeds and spores survive during the draft condition, because xerophyte condition is very extreme. So how they survive? They are protected by hard coats, and they remain in the particular type of uh, structure for the viable period. Like this period is called dormancy period. When there is a favorable condition, when there is rainfall in the desert, then these seeds will grow and become plants. Second aspect is adaptation for balance between transpiration and water uptake. How they get their water from the surrounding, which type of surrounding is there, what are the adaptations they get. First of all, when there is a condition, then water is very deep, water is present very deep in the soil. So what plants can do? Acacia, banyan, these are the common plants which form deep vertical roots, so that the roots can penetrate deep in the soil and absorb water, so they can survive. As well as the second example is of cactus. Cactus is the plant which survive in the condition when there is no deep soil water present. There is rainfall and water is scattered on the surface of the soil and evaporate because of high heat, so that they need to absorb water very fast superficially. So they have roots which are horizontal, scattered in the surrounding of the plant, and superficial. After that, there are so many ways and so many adaptations regarding reducing the rate of transpiration. When they absorb water, they store water in them, and they do not need to remove water or lose water through the transpiration. So they adapt so many adaptations, like reduction in number of stomata on leaf. Their stomata, when present, are very deep, sunken type of stomata are present, and hairy epidermis is present, velvety appearance, like aloe vera leaf have velvety appearance, as well as folding of leaves, reduction in size of lamina, and modification into spine. Their stomata have closed guard cell in shape of a spine. And in last, in some of the xerophyte plants like cactus, aloe vera, you can see that when you see their leaves are inside of their leaf. There is a gel-like liquid is present, which is called aloe vera gel or cactus gel, or you can say that it is like juicy leaves. Leaves and stems are juicy. So we can say that these type of plants are succulent plants. Okay. Now, the osmoregulation in terrestrial and aquatic environment. Animals. Till now, we are discussing the botany section of osmoregulation, and now we will discuss the zoology section, the terrestrial and aquatic animals. Osmoregulation. How these animals osmoregulate? As maintenance of internal osmotic concentration different from that of the external medium. The physiological advantage of animal and terrestrial habitat is the easy access to oxygen, and their greatest physiological threat to life is dehydration. So there is less osmoregulation as compared to the plants in animals. How they maintain osmoregulation? Terrestrial organ animals, waterproof external covering. They have outer covering which is waterproof, like your skin. Like reptiles have so much thick scales on their body, like fishes have epidermal scales on their body in water, and birds have feathers on their body. So all these coverings are waterproof, as well as storing and excretion of solid waste. They as you know, feces and urine can store and excrete at the time of excretion, but before this there can be reabsorption of solid waste. And the third is use of metabolic water. When there is a metabolic activity and water is produced as a byproduct in the body, the metabolic water can be reused by another process, like in photosynthesis and respiration, you can see in plants. And storing the waste, camels are the best example of storing the waste, where camels feed, and after that they store some food and undigested or digested food in their hump. so that they can use it after some time. Now the osmoregulation in aquatic animal. Aquatic animal are of two types, freshwater and marine. Freshwater animal first, they undergo the process by contractile vacuole and by producing dilute urine. Contractile vacuole is the condition when there is small protozoans are present. In fresh water, small protozoans are present like amoeba, so they cannot have large external excretory organ or something else, so they can excrete extra water by contractile vacuole. With water, they excrete their excretory material, have high osmotic pressure so that water comes in continuously and cell can swell, but contractile vacuoles store extra water and remove out from the body. This is a kind of excretion and also called osmoregulation. After that, the second condition of freshwater organism, that is the by producing dilute urine. What does it mean? Means that water is more outside, so that water most of the time water comes inside the body every time. So what will happen? Have hypertonic body fluid. Hypertonic body fluid cause water to in. When water comes in the freshwater fishes, what will happen? They excrete more diluted form of urine, so that more water can excrete out from the body by making diluted urine. After that, the second condition is the marine animal. Marine animals are different from freshwater animals. Why? Because they have external hypotonic environment. They have hypotonic environment inside and externally. Their environment is hypertonic, means salty water is outside. So what will happen? Water from their body comes outside, comes to the external environment. So what will happen? In most common condition, we have already discussed that the cell will become shrink. So these animals do not become shrink because of the external movement of water. How they balance their external to internal balancing? What will happen? They drink while swimming, they drink more water, so that their water loss from their skin will become balanced, as well as they do not excrete more water. They always excrete concentrated salty urine, so that they can store water in their body, and the salt which is present in their body, which comes from outside environment, they can easily excrete out. After that, some of the marine bony fishes, sharks and rays, they maintain slightly hypertonic osmotic pressure of body fluid than their surrounding. How? But by storing high concentration of urea in their bodies, they can store high concentration, like we have discussed the halophytes in salt glands and halophytes in plants. Some in the same way, marine bony fishes, sharks and rays store urea in their body, so the concentration of high concentration medium appear, and they do not have the problem of water loss. Excess salt are removed by special glands in rectum, like the salt gland present in halophytes. Okay, this is the topic. Thank you, class.